Hi guys, this is Lalana. Thanks for tuning into the Sovereign Path. So today I'm going to talk about a question that has come up several times from a lot of you, and that is, what does it mean if I'm leaking my energy? What does leaking my energy mean? And I guess this this idea or this concept that is saying that I have to basically, if my energy spikes, if my energy, has those really intense hits, when I'm thinking about my twin, or when I'm around my twin, when I see my twin physically, or when a text comes through, or any of those sort of, situations, that I need to make sure that I basically pull this energy in, right? This spike energy that I'm feeling, this leaked energy that I'm feeling, that I need to pull this energy in and suck it down, or something along those lines, so that it doesn't leak out into the twin, which potentially, I guess we're talking about having a push energy toward the twin in that way. And so we need to really control the energy. We really need to control the spikes of the energy. We really need to control what the energy is doing by basically, calling it back, tamping it in, doing some other, techniques when you're around your twin, because apparently, I guess the thought is that if you don't do that, then you're going to go spiraling and looping out of control on all of those things again, and potentially slip back into the obsessiveness. So hopefully I explained that well, right? Hopefully I explained that well of what's been coming up in my coaching, and what I've been working with a few people on, and their confusion around this. And a lot of it that's coming up is the discomfort that people are having around trying to manage their energy when it spikes. This is the word that I keep hearing, when their energy spikes. When their energy, I guess, sort of feels like it's getting very intense, when they have a pain in their heart chakra, or this constricted feeling in their heart chakra, or constricted feeling in their throat, and things like that, that potentially they're supposed to just manage that by maintaining their energy and keeping their energy close and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. So I mentioned in my videos from time to time, certainly in the earlier videos that I've released, about calling your energy back to you, staying in your own lane, staying in your own love, making this path about you. This path is about self-love. This path about coming into the remembrance that you are the I Am Presence, coming into the remembrance that you are the higher self, and all of those sort of things. And, being in that place of having the awareness that this is your energy, right? You and the twin, you are one energetic system. And so when you're always pushing your, thoughts and your obsessions and your hopes and all of those things outward into the external, onto the physical aspect of the twin, then you are keeping yourself in a pattern of basically saying that the external comes first. And so as long as the external is doing whatever, then I can sort of base what I'm doing on that. And so, all of those sort of things. And so, yes, maintaining the energy, calling your energy back in the beginning stages of this path is important, right? It's important to not be flying off into obsessive world, crazyville land, in regard to what's going on energetically. But to really explain this better, right, which potentially I guess I should have explained this better in other videos, and I apologize if I haven't, is it's not your energy that you are corralling, right? It's not your energy that you're trying to tamp down. It's not a leak of an energy that you are somehow trying to plug holes and to find where all these ways that your energy is leaking. You are an energetic being. Your energy is not leaking, right? What I'm really talking about, I'm not quite sure what other coaches are talking about when they say this, so I can't speak for other people. I'm just speaking on the questions that I have been asked. And that is that what we're really talking about, what I'm really talking about when I'm saying calling your energy back in those beginning stages right after the bubble love phase, when you're falling into like ego death and you feel like you've just fallen from grace out of this really beautiful, wonderful energy that potentially you experienced in the activation stage of your awakening. What I'm talking about in those moments is what your thoughts are doing with that energy, right? It's not what the energy is doing with the energy. It's what the thought is doing with the energy. It's what your belief systems are doing with this emotion, right? That spike that you feel is emotion, right? There's an emotion coming up for you. There's a heart chakra activation that's happening, right? There's a throat chakra activation that's happening. You're going through an awakening process. And so you are going to feel intense energy on this path. You are going to feel intense energy. If you're truly a twin flame, then you're going through an awakening, and the awakening is bringing back the remembrance of what you are, which is you being an energetic being. You know, we have been going through this reality thinking that we're separate and you know, all of these things to have these experiences. And so inadvertently, in order to have these experiences, we've had to basically tamp down our heart chakra. We've had to tamp down, you know, our energetic system in a lot of ways to be able to experience, you know, constriction, to be able to experience ourselves, you know, living basically in this cage type of a situation that we have been experienced based on our programs and our thoughts and our belief systems and all of these things. So we haven't had the higher awareness, the higher remembrance that we are a free flow state of energy, that we are energetic beings, that our energy is always in flow, that our energy is always in motion, that everything is energy, right? Everything is energy. Consciousness is energy. And so what happens is that it's that we have these spikes, I guess, that are being called spikes. I've never actually used that word before, so just using the terminology that I've been asked the question. We have these, you know, these spikes of energy or these hits of energy that come up. You know, that's no different than potentially having the energy that you feel, like if you feel a panic attack, you know, or if you feel like butterflies, or if you feel like you're around somebody new and you have that nervous, anxious energy and all of those sort of things. You know, energy plays out and we feel it somatically, very, very much. We feel it somatically. But when we're going through the awakening process, we need to have the awareness is that when we're feeling a lot of this energy, it's because we're going through the awakening process, right? And so you're being cracked open. It's not a matter of saying, okay, I'm feeling this energy and my twin is causing this energy, and so therefore I need to stamp this energy down so that I don't allow my energy to leak all over the place. It's your thoughts that you don't want to leak all over the place, not your energy, right? It's all one and the same when we're looking at it from the macrocosm, right? And that's all fine and good. But when we're looking at the nuances of how all of these things are playing out, it's coming down to what are you doing with your thoughts, right? This is why this is such a big aspect of my course. What are you doing with your thoughts? What are you doing with your emotion, right? Are you allowing this stuff to just run wild and take you into the past and into the future and into, like, you know, some sort of past version of who you believed yourself to be, right? These energetic influxes that we are feeling that are so intense are not meant to be shut down. They're meant to be opening you up, right? So even when I say things like call your energy back, what I really mean is that when you're going off the chain in the beginning stages of this path, thinking, and you're pushing your whole essence onto the twin, right? Then you have completely like stepped out of any sort of reality that you yourself feel that you can have a handle on, right? Because your thoughts have just gone wild, right? And that's a big part of this path. We get into that obsessive thing in the beginning stages of this path, but the obsessive aspect of that is still based on programs and belief systems and patterns and all sorts of things, whatever woundings that we felt that we have taken on, whatever woundings that we have subscribed to and then been carrying through our life thinking that that was us, right? So what's really happening is that the heart chakra is opening, right? The Kundalini is rising. You are opening up energetically again. And so the whole idea of shutting this energy down so that somehow you're not gonna like loop again forever if you're not shutting this energy down when you're around your twin is, again, like so many other aspects of this path that I keep hearing that are the actual opposite of what's actually going on. If you were shutting your energy all down all the time, then you would be having a really difficult time of allowing your heart chakra to open, of allowing all of your chakras to get back online, to start spinning properly again, right? To start being in that free flow state of energy that I'm always talking about. You're feeling this energy, this intense energy, because you've just recognized yourself as God's source, creation, all that is. You've just had the remembrance of, oh shit, that's what I am. That's what I always been. I've just been experiencing the amnesic state and now I'm going through the awakening. And so going through the awakening, we go through soul shock. We go through the awareness of everything that I thought that I was experiencing is not what everything is, right? And the higher awareness and the higher remembrance of what I am. And so energy starts to move again in a way that we haven't remembered in however long. Energy starts, we start to be able to somatically feel this. We be able to feel emotion in a way that potentially we never have before. We become very aware of energy. And the reason for this is because we need to start allowing our energy to move. We need to start allowing our energy to flow. This is why I'm always saying things like stay in the free flow state. Allow your energy to move through you. Allow your emotion to come up. Feel what's coming up. Allow it to move through you. It will transmute. But if we're always shutting our energy down, if we're always thinking that we need to constantly be calling it back in order to like tamp it down, that's not what this is about. That actually keeps you in a very constricted place, right? So hopefully that makes sense. It's your thoughts, which are energy. Everything's energy. It's your thoughts that you need to get a handle on. It's your thoughts that you need to stop leaking out in all of these different ways, right? It's your thoughts that are going round and round and that are pulling you in all of these different directions and are keeping your focus outward on the twin. So it's those thoughts that is pushing. That's the push energy, is the thought system, right? The panic, the PTSD thing, the oh God, is this gonna go round again? Is oh God, how do they feel about this thing? And oh blah, da 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 da, which is all coming from, right, inner child woundings, as I said, programs, patterns, conditionings, belief systems, all of those sort of things. That is what is the push energy. That's what's pushing out. That's what you need to get a handle on, right? So I think that when we're having this conversation, potentially that's being confused on some level of this energy influx that you feel that's coming up within you and the actual thoughts that are attached to this energy that's coming up within you. It's the thoughts that are attached to this energy that are creating a push, right? And that are creating you to go loop and loop and round and round and round because you're not in the present moment, right? You're not in the present. You're not accepting the presence as it is. You're not in the now, right? You've run off in some other different wavelengths and some other different streams in regard to how the twin makes you feel, right? The energy that you're feeling in regard to your perception of how you are feeling in any given moment when it comes to thinking about the twin, seeing the twin, hearing the twin's voice, seeing the twin, all of those sort of things. That response that you're having is one of two things. It's the energetic response of your reflection, reflecting back to you, reminding you that you are source incarnate, having an experience, and now you're awakening out of the separation. And so again, it's just like this immediate hit of like, oh God, everything that I have been experiencing is very different than everything that I am being shifted into, right? That is an energetic hit, and you will feel it all the way through your awakening, all the way through as your ascension. Even when you're in inner union, you are still going to feel your own energy, because your own energy is continuing to expand. It's kind of like when you go through an awakening, you got cracked out of the cage that you've been in. It's the butterfly analysis, right? Analysis, that's not the right word. It's the butterfly metamorphosis analogy, right? We've been in this cocoon for however long we've been in this cocoon. And now we're waking up. And so the cocoon has been experiencing all of these things kind of in darkness, not really knowing the caterpillar has been experiencing the cocoon in darkness, not knowing, not remembering that it was a butterfly, that it was, morphing into a butterfly. And so it's the same sort of thing in this. It's like we've been experiencing life in that cocoon, right? In the shadow state, in the unconscious awareness of what we've been for so long. And so we go through the awakening process and suddenly your wings start to stretch, right? You start to break free from that cocoon. You start pushing on the edges of that cocoon that you've been in. That's your energy pushing out, right? You need to look at it like that. That's your energy pushing on the edges of that cocoon that are breaking you back open, that are breaking you out of the shadow side that you've been experiencing, the amnesic state that you've been experiencing. And so to have a good visual example of that is to say, why would I be trying to keep myself in that cocoon? Because that's basically what we're saying when keep your energy to you, hold it in, yank it in and tamp it down and staple gun it in, right? That is not twin flame or not, that's not how we need to be looking at energy. And it's certainly not how you're going to transmute energy. It's how you're going to keep yourself stuck. And it's how you're going to keep your chakras very much tamped down, right? We need to be in a free flow state of energy. It's extremely important. And so whatever that, kind of belief system is around, always needing to make sure that you're very much in control of your energy, and that you can't really have your energy leaking out onto your twin. And, however the story goes, however that belief goes, it's your thoughts. It's not your energy. Your energy is trying to open itself back up, right? Your energy is breaking open your heart chakra. It's the heart chakra activation. Your energy is breaking open all of your chakras that have been basically laying somewhat dormant for a while as we've been experiencing that cocoon stage of the separation consciousness. And so really allowing your energy to allow your energy to flow. You don't want to tamp it down. You don't want to suck it in. You don't want to be oh, I feel an energy spike, and so I better yank this thing down again, because if I don't control my energy, then I'm going to go looping and all. No, if you don't control your thoughts, you're going to go looping all into different directions, right? If you don't control your thoughts, that's the thing. So hopefully that brings a little bit of clarity to the people who have asked me, and for the people who have been basically trying to do this technique, however the technique is taught, I'm not sure, basically trying to do this technique for a really long time. Some people a couple of years have been doing this technique and have been finding that they haven't seen any changes in regard to their growth, in regard to the twin flame dynamic and their path and all of these sort of things. And so, yeah, guys, it's really important that you understand that whatever this leaking energy thing that I've been asked about, your energy isn't leaking. You are an energetic being. That whole premise actually makes no sense whatsoever, along with lots of other premises on the twin flame dynamic that are being taught that make absolutely no sense. You are energy. You're not leaking your energy, right? This is oneness, right? We are experiencing oneness. The I Am Presence is experiencing itself in a myriad of different ways, in trillions of different forms all at once. That's all one energy that's experiencing itself. And so the idea that our energy somehow needs to get, individualized and tamped down and sucked in and all of these sort of things No, it doesn't work like that. You need to allow a free flow state of energy so that you can open your heart chakra fully, so that you can remember that you are part of creation, so that you can remember that you are connected at all times to all that is, that you are one with all that is. So opening the heart chakra is huge. And those spikes of energy that people keep talking about, that you keep feeling, and that, I feel this thing in here and this thing in here and whatever, and so I have to tamp all these things down. A lot of that is because you've had energetic blocks for so long, and you, as you're awakening, is trying to break those things free, right? You're trying to break open your chakras and the blocks that have been gumming up your energetic system. So you need to allow that stuff to come through, right? You need to allow your energy to flow again. Our energy, as I said, has had to be sort of constricted on some level in order for us to experience separation. Now you're awakening. Don't continue to do that. Don't continue to try to grab your energy and yank it down and push it in and look at your feet and, control all of this stuff. No. Pay attention to what your thoughts are doing when you are having this energy influx. As I said, if you got a text, if you got a phone call, if you saw your twin, if you're blah, blah, whatever else, pay attention to what your mind is doing with that feeling. This path is about mind mastery, right? It's not about energy mastery. You are an energetic being. You need to remember and start to get back in the energetic flow and the open heart chakra that you are, so that you are always just a constant moving conduit, right? It's the mind that is telling you all of these things, the ego that is saying all of these things, and that is what's keeping people in loops. That is what will keep you going round and round and round, trying to figure this thing out, doing all of these techniques that just simply don't work. They don't have anything to do with what this path actually is. So hopefully that makes sense, guys, right? You're here to figure out what's going on with your belief systems, your programs, your patterns, your thoughts, all of these sort of things, right? You're not here to master your energy or to control your energy or to tamp your energy or to make sure that your energy is not leaking and all of those sort of things, right? As I said, in the beginning stages of this, when you're going like crazyville and everything's feeling out of control, and I say things too, like call your energy back, what it really means is that stop thinking constantly about them and throwing everything you are outward onto the twin, right? It means bring that thought system back, bring the truth of what you are back, bring your love back, all of those sort of things, so that you're not just completely going off the deep end, which is just a part of this path in the beginning. I mean, let's call it what it is. That is what it is. But you do need to start learning to be in the free flow state of energy. You need to start remembering that all of this stuff that's moving throughout you, the Kundalini, the heart activation, the solar plexus and all of these things that you're feeling, it's your energy asking to be released. It's the energy asking to move. It needs to move, right? You need to be back in the free flow state. And so anything that's teaching you that you need to be like grabbing your energy and tamping it down and stapling it in and doing all of these techniques, and if you don't do them, then you're just going to be looping in all of this stuff forever, and you'll never be able to stop like pining over your twin. That's not it. That's not correct. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's not correct. You need to manage what's going on with your thoughts, what you're doing with them, where they're going, how they're carrying you, how they're moving into all different belief systems and all sort of things that are based on the past version of you and the past woundings of you that you are still subscribing to. That's what you need to manage, right? You need to allow the energy to flow. The energy is trying to break you free. The energy is your friend. The energy is you, right? The energy is you. If you weren't meant to be having all of these energetic influxes, you wouldn't be, right? It's the same thing as I say all the time in all of my content is like, things are happening because they're meant to be happening, right? You're going through an awakening. This is being led, right? The higher self that is you is leading you through this. So you can trust that if you're having you know, your heart activation, you're having like, you're feeling like this tightness in your solar plexus, you're feeling something going on with your sacral chakra, you're feeling energy moving throughout your body, which is going to happen because you're going through a Kundalini rising. It should be happening. When you're feeling all of these things, have the awareness of, this is part of the awakening process. This is part of my ascension. This isn't something that I need to tamp down and try to control. This is breaking you out of the cocoon, right? What you need to control is your thoughts and what your thoughts are trying to say, and all of these teachings that are trying to tell you the opposite of what is actually going on here. Pay attention to what your mind is doing. Pay attention to what your beliefs are trying to tell you. Pay attention to how things are coming up for you and what you're doing with that information, right? That's the leak, if we're going to call it anything. That's the leak. That's what keeps you in the loop, right? The energy is you. You can't just shut off your own energy and try to do all of those things. It just doesn't make any sense. The energy is actually bringing you back into the wings, into the butterfly that has always been you. So allow the energy. So that's what I have for you guys. I hope that that resonates. You guys have an awesome day.